Actually, we'll start with just the general. Hi, I'm Eric Frank, as you probably know by now, everybody. And this is Jeff Garis, the DPW superintendent. Also with us is our BSBPA business liaison, Bernadette. Not yet, Dana. I was gonna get there. Our liaison, Bernadette, trustee and deputy mayor, and then a BSBPA president is, or what is administrator? I always forget what your official title is. Go ahead, Dana. Oh, she can't unmute.
There. I am the executive administrator and sole employee.
She
Everyone
does.
else is a volunteer.
She does the work of about 1,000 employees, the way she does things, and we appreciate her a lot. And I know she's working on things already to continue to assist the businesses. So we'll get to that in a little while in this discussion. Now, if you have questions or comments or thoughts for this, you're watching this again, we did this unintentionally as a webinar, but raise your hand. We'll bring you in with questions when we're at that appropriate point. So if I don't immediately get to you, just keep your hand up and we can see that and bring you in. Okay, so when last we did this, we were looking at just starting the project, talking about some of the work that was going to be done in terms of the storm structures, the sidewalk issues, the ramping specifically, and the paving work. We're also adding to the mix a little bit more urgently now the National Grid gas work that you're seeing on the street, and Jeff will touch on that. But Jeff, if you could take us through what we've done so far, and then we address what's going on with grid, how far that work's going to go, and then we'll talk about the future from there.
Okay. We've done some sanitary sewer inspection work. So what we have found so far is old but sound. Storm drainage work. We still have to TV a few drainage lines. The ones that we've looked at are old but stable. We've replaced 5 or 6 drainage structures on Front Street. Wiswall Park is separate, and we don't need to. We did some exploratory work in Wiswall Park that will be regraded and seeded. As soon as the weather kind of breaks, we still have ground freezes, thaws. So that's probably 1 to 2 days at the most of restoration. So we'll regrade and reseed. That won't really affect Front Street, if you will. I think of that as a separate project. Water is kind of what water is. We will replace some valve boxes. We do have a couple of valves to look at in Front Street yet on our list of things to do. And before I get into our schedule, we've started ADA sidewalk rehab to compatibility type thing. We've poured concrete and finishing as we speak. And I'll jump back to that in a second. As far as National Grid goes, National Grid was replacing an old gas main in Front Street in rough vicinity of about the Medbury to Science Street with plastic to update it. Very old, don't want to have leaks or have them dig it up after we pave it. The gas main, that portion is complete. They're backfilling today. They've charged the main with gas. They now just need to reconnect all the connections to businesses, residents with new service pipe. They will start that probably on Monday. That will take them probably, I'm only guessing, not speaking exact. They'll probably be done with that within next week. And then there's another portion of gas main that needs to be replaced from about Ballston Avenue. We call it one-way Ballston. It's where Ballston Avenue meets Charleston Street, Front Street. That gas main goes from about Ballston Ave just to the DPW garage. If they hit their schedule within 2-3 weeks at the most, they will be completely done with their work and off of Front and Charlton Street and out of our way. But what they're doing is needed and is going well. So
I can only imagine if they weren't doing the work now, they had to go do it later, what they would basically be destroying in terms of the really nice new road, et cetera, that's going to be happening out there.
So we've got that. We try to work as well as grid as we can, trying to stay in front of it. This street and other streets, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But for the most part, that the portion of the gas main work is going well. And And I'm not sure they, here again, they could change their schedule as needed, but typically right now they work 4/10, so we don't even see National Grid downtown working on Fridays. So, they'll have vehicles parked and that type of thing. They have talked to all the property owners personally, from what I've been told, as far as their gas service. They come in, shut them off, turn them on. It takes a few hours, change them over, relight them as they call, but they have a handle on that. And here again, within 2 or 3 weeks, they'll be totally out of sight as far as Front Street goes. So we have started ADA sidewalk work. I roll right into that.
Go for it.
Okay, so we're tweaking it as we go. Nothing is in stone or concrete until it's cured, if you will. But so we, due to weather, staffing, and emergencies, our schedule can change any day, any hour. But right now, we've worked out a schedule where we've actually, if you will, just to take it from Milton Avenue to just past the village office, there are 9 to 10 locations that we're upgrading sidewalks. We have completed 2 this past week. So dug, formed, and then poured concrete. Here again, concrete poured this morning. My guys are still finishing. We're barricading. If somebody's in your store, you might want to mention to people, walk around the barricades. So as much as we have it barricaded, my guys are finishing concrete, and the lady just walked through wet concrete. So that just slows us down. So here again, we're trying to do quality work. So my guys are standing guard, if you will, until we get the curing compound on that. And with the temperatures, we're using concrete blankets to keep concrete warm, but we will fence it off or try to fence it off. So the way we're approaching this is we did 2 locations starting on Monday. We're going to do 2 more locations. Those will be approximately in front of Henry's in the corner at the post office. Our goal is, without any interruptions, dig on a Monday, form on a Tuesday, pour on a Wednesday. Let concrete cure enough over Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Monday, Tuesday, we can open those walks back up. So with that schedule set, the ones that we're doing today will open up on Tuesday so people can walk on them. Next week, the week of starting Monday's date, April 3rd, I think it is, we'll dig, form, pour. We'll have those next 2 done. While we're doing that work simultaneously, we're going to move to the west side of Bath Street and start storm structures from Science Street down to the old Iron Spring. While we're working on sidewalk work, the following week, now if we pour early next week, it'll be opened by the following Monday. So that south side, if you will, from Front Street, from Milton Ave to Bath, will be complete, so people can use the other side of the sidewalk. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more locations between O'Brien's and Bath Street, if you will. We plan on digging the one in 2 more locations. It's one in front of, I think, the Iron Roost and Sunset Cafe the following Monday. Dig on Monday, form on Tuesday, pour on Wednesday. If you were to look at it from an aerial view, even with those 2 sidewalks blocked off, we only need room in front of those spaces for dump truck and backhoe to excavate. Then it's a pickup truck for a couple of spots while guys form. While the ready mix truck is there, we're going to take more than that, but the ready mix trucks unloads in an hour or 2 and then it's gone. We'll have those 2 spots, so anyone can walk from O'Brien's until they get to that, to get to all those storefronts. They can walk on the other side from the post office to Henry's, cross over to the Wiswall corner, walk across this crosswalk that is open, and go left or right to get to all those stores fronts. And they can cross over on the next block and get to all those storefronts. We'll get those 2 complete. The following week, we'll go into, I didn't lose track of where I am here. So those 2 on the 10th. The following week, we'll go into the spot in front of, is it DB maybe? And
Looks like I almost Play Hollow, actually, the way you got it designed. Yeah.
wherever that lands up across from Wiswall and start that storefront. Yep. And the one at the corner of the Medbury and Spring Street, Front and Spring. We'll do those 2. I'll take that back. We're going to do 3. The ones directly across from Wiswall, the one at the corner of Medbury, Front and Spring, and the one at the corner of Bath and Front across from the village office.
I'm going to steal this, and I think
It's pretty crude, but it works.
Yeah, it does. I think if I can get close enough here, you'll be able to see the crude drawing. So essentially, the
Pink is done.
pink is done. The blue is next, for next week.
Week of the 3rd.
The yellowish on the, what is that? The northern side of the street, I believe that is.
Yep.
Is going to be the 10th is yellow, and the orange is the 17th that week, which he said would be the Medbury getting both corners. They are done, and kind of I still think it's like the Play Hollow area, give or take there. That is also in orange there. So those are where the effects are going to be over the next 3 weeks for folks wondering, and the spaces that might be at least just temporarily taken out of commission for the work to occur. What I'm sensing is, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, the gas work is probably taking out more spots than we're going to be taking out during this.
Probably. Yeah.
So you're basically seeing what's going to be the worst of it until we actually get to paving days, and the mill and fill Mondays that we're probably going to be doing with respect to full closure, obviously during that point. But we're making sure we're not doing it during your main business days, folks. So stay aware of that.
Right. Rough schedule after that. We'll move to the west side of Bath Street, work our way down to Route 67, West High Street. In those next few weeks, getting ahead of, we've thought about how to approach it, but that dates aren't locked in with milling and paving. Our intention is that when it comes time, this is to take place in May, if you will, probably second, third, fourth week in May. We hope to be, I'm going to jinx myself, we hope to be complete before Memorial Day weekend. Where was I? So we're going to move west of Bath Street after that. And then when it comes time to mill and pave, our ideal situation would be that we would mill on a Monday in May. Would take an entire day. There will be some
For the entire stretch, right?
this entire stretch from all the way from Milton Avenue to West High Street, all of Front and Charlton, including Spring Street. We're going to do Spring Street at the same time. We would mill on a Monday. If I'm working out with our contractor, as far as we may even mill Milton to Bath. With milling, we could pick up and move Milton to Bath, and then both curb to curb, full lane, clean up, move over, move west to Bath, and finish the day out from Bath to West High Street. We'll take the following week to do preparations, clean up, and we always find something that we didn't know about once we mill. And then hopefully the following Monday, in the perfect schedule, we would pave. Paving would be one very long day, but we would pave. Paving would be different than milling because when we pull our lanes, in order to keep things smooth, we would probably pull from Milton Avenue all the way to West High Street and then come back and pave the second lane without having a joint at Bath Street. That's to be determined, but that's a rough schedule.
You seem to be, I mean, last time we got together, and Dana probably remembers this because of the nerves and whatnot, you were pretty nervous about getting things done by June 1st stop or May 31st stop. You seem to be in a better frame of mind here because I think the weather, aside from those two late storms, but they melted away pretty quick. We didn't get bogged too badly down by the end of the winter here. So are you feeling better about things?
Better about it. Yep. Here again, never a guarantee. We were kidding. We would put a catch basin in, we get a snowstorm. We put a catch basin in, we get a snowstorm. We were thinking about stop put catch basins in so it would stop snowing. But we got past that, got most of that storm work. Here again, we have storm work west of Bath Street to do, which we'll be working on the next few weeks. But here again, nothing's guaranteed, but my comfort level is better that we're on target and on schedule.
So again, just to recap, and then we'll ask you to raise your hands with questions or take some questions from Dana as well on this, as I know she has some. Over the next few weeks is going to be basically the sidewalk work for the ADA on everything from Bath to Route 50, as we showed you from that color-coded beautiful chart that we had there. And then the weeks after the 17th of April, we'll be continuing that type of work all the way down to West High, down Charlton, et cetera. And then the milling on a Monday, and that goes down Spring Street as well. And the filling on the following Monday. I'm assuming the striping would be right after the paving to make sure we have parking spaces, et cetera, striped out.
As soon as we can. Now,
Yep.
we do need some time for
Cure and all that.
curing and asphalt to breathe before we put paint on it, so we don't have blistering and bubbling and that type of thing. So
And crosswalking generally, are the crosswalks going to be instantaneous when you draw them in, or how does that work?
it'll be not until we stripe. We are investigating now. I would like to actually stamp the crosswalks, so it'll have a texture to it, or an embedded stamp. So even though it won't be highlighted until you paint it, but that is what we're researching now, to get a stamp that we would have to put in a hot asphalt, run it in with a plate taper and the plate tamper. Sorry, a little lip tied there. And then we would accent it with, here again, we could talk about colors later, but brick red is what we've been using with white accents, along with white striping, handicap blue, no parking yellow. That's our intention. So
I gotta be honest, I'm really excited about this. It just sounds like it's going to be so, okay, for as beautiful as a road can be with asphalt on it, a pretty beautiful situation with a much better functionality with those storm structures and the ADA crosswalking. And so it really sounds like it's going to be worth the little bit of pain we're all going through right now to get to that point. Dana, again, I'm just going to invite anybody that's watching. I can see if any hands are being raised. Please raise your hand if you have a question at this point, folks. Dana, I know you've got the pulse of folks out there as well. So if you want to ask a question or two, and I see Natalia has raised her hand. So go ahead with your first one, then we'll bring Natalia in.
Sure. I'm just going to kind of let everybody know what we've discussed kind of as a board, as far as helping out businesses downtown on Front Street, et cetera. Carrie and Greg from Boho Chic sent me some really helpful information. Both of them have been involved in past careers with this sort of thing as well, and have a lot of experience. And we've kind of settled on, instead of focusing on shouting to the rooftops that Front Street is under construction, more focus on like where to park when you get here, what to do when you come here, because we don't want to discourage people from coming to the village at all. So instead of giving them a reason not to come, let's just help them figure out what to do when they get here. So I'm working on making a little video that'll be shareable on all of our merchants' Facebook pages and Instagram, with parking spots, all the different parking spots in town, and where to park and weekend parking and things like that. And I'm also working on a map that we could potentially print out and put in shops, or share online and whatnot, just kind of get it out there. And my other question, it might be what Natalia is asking, I'm not sure, but is if you've talked to any of the businesses in town that have parking lots, and maybe people might be able to use them during the daytime.
Right now, what we're seeing in terms of once grid is out of the way, we're not seeing that there's going to be so much of an effect that we necessarily have to go in that route, because the biggest demand we're noticing is at night still. And we do have the night lots to the west of Bath Street that folks I think are aware of, the AOC lot and the one that's by the old Monaco's pub there. And so those are still, it seems like there's plenty of space in those at night to be utilized. And then parking up Low Street as well seems to be available. I'm going to be trying to monitor actively. And the reason I resist going in, triggering a lot yet, is because there are insurance implications and things we have to do contractually with somebody that's going to allow their lot to be used for this function. So we have not foreclosed that possibility. But as we've seen the reality of what's happening here, again, aside from that national grid work, which is just about done, I don't see that impact that's going to require a full-on parking lot from somebody else yet, with your assistance, Dana, to spot where people might not realize they can park right now, or to get to the businesses, et cetera. If we're noticing a change in that, please, somebody just jump in down the line, email me, call me, you know what to do, and we'll resolve it on an ongoing basis, and also get Dana involved too. But right now, no. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I have been monitoring it the last couple of weeks. We're not quite there yet at that point. So Natalia asked, sorry, I missed the date for DB Trends to play Hollow. When's it projected? I believe that was the 17th, it looks like, for DB Trends. Yeah, DB Trends area. Yeah.
We're starting at 7th.
In the Sunset Cafe area would be the 10th. So that's actually closer to Plate Hollow, Natalia. I'm sorry, as I'm looking at this again. So the 10th would be probably the one that's closest to you, Natalia, and DB Trends would be probably the 17th, that work. And it's a few day long situation each time where they'll pull out the concrete, work on it, pour it, cure it, and all that stuff. So again, it will not debilitate your entry. It'll just be some work going on in front of your store if you're directly affected by it. Also, any options to increase parking places with private lots, just answered that. We will be evaluating that on an ongoing basis. Dionysus, let me allow you to talk here 1 second. And Darvin also. So how are you folks? Haven't seen you in a while, and go ahead with your question.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Sure can.
All righty. Okay, so first I would like to thank you, or I would like to thank everyone for the great job with the street repairs. I think it's been great. I thought it was going to be like catastrophic because I was hearing a lot of things and I'm like, oh no, I don't think I'm ready for this. But no, you guys been doing great. And I would like to thank you for that. So last Wednesday, my store was closed and I saw some guys doing some repairs in front of my store. I'm not sure what was that about. I don't know if you they were patching things, measurements. Okay. So I saw that they moved one of my planters and it was in the middle of the sidewalk. And I don't know what was happening. It's just an observation. I had to call my daughter to tell her to move the planter back because it was in the middle of the sidewalk. So I'm assuming it was just maybe measurements or something like that in front of my store. And now you guys gonna do something else. I want to know what else.
Here again, I'm not seeing every move the guys make, but most likely it was either measuring and saw cutting, preparing for the removal of the slab. So maybe they moved a planter, they were saw cutting, they had to move location to location. Apologize, should have slid the planter back to where it was. But my guesstimate, that's what that was. We were saw cutting to get ahead of it. So when it comes time to remove the old concrete, it's all done. And we did all the saw cutting in one day.
Oh, I see. Yes, it looks very nice now, in my opinion. It looks clean. Like the entrance of my store looks clean now. But yeah, I just want to, make sure that that the work was done, and I didn't want to tell my daughter to put that thing back if you guys were not done. But no, that's it. And now on the 17th, there's going to be another little project in front of my store, right?
Sure.
How long is it going to take?
We're going to, if things work out well, we'll remove the old concrete on Monday. We'll be installing the forms and compacting fill on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Be pouring concrete with a concrete ready mix truck on Wednesday and finishing that concrete. And if that goes well, then we'll just barricade that back off and keep people from walking on it for the next 4 days and reopen the entire sidewalk or that portion that's new now in front of the store the following Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, well, sounds good.
24.
Yeah.
Yep, basically a week of work and protection because obviously you want that nice new sidewalk ramp to look nice and new after it's all said and done. So there's that.
All righty. So it's going to be on the 17th to the 24th. Okay, so it's going to be a week. Okay, already. I think that's it for now. That's all I want to know. And thank you again, guys. I think you guys doing a good job. I appreciate all the help.
We appreciate that. And if you have any other questions, I ask you to put your hand down for now. And then if you have another question, that way I'll know to get you then at that point. So thank you very much. Okay, no other hands up. If you do have a question, please put your hand up. We got a couple of questions, I guess, from our Facebook chat. I'm just getting to scroll through here. There's a question about sidewalk law, which has not been approved yet. And so sidewalk law changes would be probably not capable of being done until possibly May at this point. So the incentivized higher compensation for replacing your sidewalk will not be immediately available, unfortunately. So we are hoping to get on top of that as quickly as possible as a board if you want to replace your sidewalk during some of this time. But right now it would be at the old rate, or the current rate, and not the new revised upper rate. So be aware of that. Question, what's the plan to address sewer issues in Wiswell Park? You had kind of addressed Wiswell Park as a separate project at this point. So I don't know if you want to add on to that at all.
Right now things structurally are okay, need to be upgraded, a whole different project and scope. If it was to be done, it would be approached from, Walnut Street and Low Street, so it won't affect Front Street. We have old pipes, but they're functional. We've been in with cameras. We have some stone pipe that needs to be replaced, but that needs, things that we need to reevaluate and present some information to the board and see which way we want to go with that. So along with that, just part of what the mayor was saying, along with the general question, I know one store owner that's already looking to replace concrete sidewalk and curb on Front Street. So I haven't spoken to them since last meeting, but I'll wanted to reach out before this meeting. We'll reach out later today or tomorrow. Here again, they do want to schedule it for two reasons. One, you got to get it done before we pave, and two, may not want to do it exactly the time we're doing it. It may work better, it may not be. So we'll need to communicate, but either way, we'll have to. Plus, whoever would want to do that work would have to schedule with a contractor, and you want to be reaching out to them. Now, also, I know someone, at least one property owner, that's going to change their water service from the middle of Front Street into their building. So we're coordinating with them. If anyone else is looking to do that, you need to be on that and doing that quickly here so we can get it done before we pave. I don't want to be the one with the cut of hole in the brand new street. Not that it couldn't happen to any of us, but if anyone's looking to upgrade water service or upgrade sidewalks and curb, now's the time to do it. And we will be installing a sanitary manhole on Spring Street, probably within the next week, either next week or the week after. If it goes well, it's a one-day process. We will need to close Spring Street. While we do that, we'll speak to the businesses. We'll speak with the Medberry so they know directly. We can get people. We'll either direct traffic up onto Front Street or out around the work down on the bottom of Spring Street. We'll coordinate with them. When we do that work, it'll be totally closed. It's a one-way street. We need to close it to keep men from we'll close it at Spring, at Front, at the top of the street to keep the men safe. But here again, we anticipating that being a one-day process, and we'll coordinate with the Medberry when we're doing that. So
got a couple more here. I'm going to actually reverse order here. Judy Esposito is asking if the village approves the moving of the Sansucci Spring to elsewhere in the park, do you still believe that it would be easy to do and not have to dig up the new pavement?
Sure. Yep. We've already put a future drain in. If it gets moved into a different corner of the park and the well itself is pressurized, we can feed the well anywhere in the park from where it crosses the street. So
thanks, Judy.
Won't affect the street. So
good question. Kathy Hackett from the Arts Committee. Would there be an opportunity to make the impressions in the street be something that reflects Ballston Spa? Interesting question. Probably something we'd have to get a jump on pretty soon here, because it may take a little bit more, planning and work. Answering, we'll get back to you on that, would be a proper answer on that. But Kathy, if you have any ideas, why don't you reach out to me directly or Jennifer, and over the next couple of days we can maybe have that conversation with Jeff to see what we're capable of doing, because I really don't personally know the answer myself. Jeff would have to kind of scope out the logistics of how to accomplish that, but definitely not out of the complete question. Just got to figure out what and how. So Kathy, mayor at villageofballstonspa.org or village.admin@villageofballstonspa.org. Happy to discuss that further with you and maybe bring in Dana, Bernadette, Jeff on those questions. No other hands currently. Dana, did you have anything else you wanted to ask on behalf of anybody? Last chance for questions. Again, though, raise your hand if you want to ask one. We'll bring you on in, folks. But Dana, any thoughts generally too?
No, I think the general consensus is that it's something that needs to be done, and we'll, on our end, again, work as hard as we can to support the businesses. So if you're not getting what you need, you can always email me, Dana@ballston.org, and I can direct you in any which way or get answers for you. So I'm happy to help.
Awesome. And Bernadette, any last thoughts for the businesses out there, especially?
No, mainly just to thank them and their patience and meeting with us to have this conversation again. If there are any questions that you have or thoughts, please reach out to me. It's Trustee Bernadette at villageofballstonspot.org. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. And I just want to reiterate what Bernadette stated there, which is thanks to everybody with their patience. I know you've been going through the streets and trying to be as considerate to the business situation as possible. I mean, look, they could just kind of ram through the streets and not care about anything and probably get it done in the quicker time. But it's not about that. It's about making sure that we're protecting your businesses, your interests along the way here to make sure we get the best possible result. And also coordinating with the grid was a great idea here. We've seen when we don't coordinate with grid, what it can lead to. So getting this work done by National Grid right now is very, very important. Oh, last thing, some people are asking about the temporary patch that is in the sidewalk into the street by grid. How will that get resolved ultimately?
Grid subcontracts that work. Obviously, it's weather dependent. We're being a little more bold than they are here. Again, they just finished, so they'll replace concrete with concrete and asphalt with hot asphalt. Right now, asphalt plants aren't open. Here again, they're trying to get all the work done, I'm sure, to do concrete. They don't do that work themselves. They subcontract. They'll have a concrete contractor come in and patch those sidewalks, get them back to the closest they can to what they were with similar patterns. So I'm sure that's going to come right behind. So
what you're seeing in the street right now is cold patch. I wouldn't drive over it routinely if you can avoid it, because it can pick up a little bit more sometimes than hot asphalt can, because it doesn't set as well. So just avoid driving over those areas where possible. If you have to park on it, obviously it's different, but it's there to protect you to not fall into a trench or something along those lines.
It is safe to drive in, so
Yeah.
don't go out of your lane to avoid a patch. Here again, that's the material we use to fix potholes during the winter until we go back and hot patch. So one other comment I'll make, and here again, we don't all need to be watchdogs, but in your businesses in the morning, evening, or during the day, if we have barricades up around, we're trying to protect our work so people aren't walking in wet concrete, or even concrete can be marred a day later if someone gets on that. Or sometimes in the nightlife, people get ambitious. But if you see people moving barricades, I'd ask that you call us or the police, actually the police first, because we don't need that. That's not going to help any of us. Or if we have something barricaded off because it's a dangerous situation, someone removes a barricade and then someone gets hurt, that's only going to slow us down. So here again, we don't need to be watchdogs and noses on the window looking out to see. But if you see somebody doing something that's not a DPW worker, usually we're in the pretty shade of green that I have on, for safety vest, they shouldn't be moving barricades and fence and that type of thing. That we have them there for a purpose, and we ask that people just abide by those and leave them where they are. So thank you.
And last thing, I for some reason, the person asked a question about sidewalk law or code changes, didn't feel like we answered sufficiently. And the answer is we don't know. Flat out, we don't know when the sidewalk code will be completed. We're working on that. I believe we have a special meeting on the 6th about the sidewalk code. Hopefully we can resolve some of the issues by email and get it done quickly. Then we'll have to schedule a public hearing, then vote on it. So it may take until early May before it's set in stone, because we also have to come up with the new fee schedule related to it that's apart from the sidewalk code itself. So just stay tuned. We'll keep people informed with respect to that, because again, as Jeff said, we want to coordinate with you. We want to get you the best possible rate reimbursement back. So we are working on that and cognizant of what the timing issues are here. So we're going to try to stay considerate with respect to the stuff you may want to do. If you have a water service situation, though, that you want to handle, please let Jeff know and DPW know immediately so that they can coordinate with you, because time's running out before it will create a bigger impact than it needs to with respect to the street. I think that's it.
Sounds good.
Everybody, thank you so much for your patience, time, and questions and thoughts on this. And if there's anything you did want to ask, feel free to keep commenting on Facebook. It'll be there. We'll be posting this on YouTube in a little bit. So let your friends, neighbors know that'll be up there as well. We'll be posting that fact on the actual Village Village Facebook page and webpage later today, hopefully, as long as it uploads in time. And otherwise, you know how to reach out to us here. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great day and a great weekend. We don't see you.
Thank you.